Hey, so in this video I'm going to show you guys what I would include in my beginner's special effects kit. I'll go through like different products, what I've used and what I find easy to use, or what are kind of easy beginner things you can experiment with. And to accompany this video I'll also make a bunch of videos on basic special effects looks that you can practice as a beginner. So included in that would be like cuts or lacerations, bullet holes, black eyes and bruising, grazes, bites, burns, that kind of stuff. And I think I'll also make a video showing common beginner mistakes that you can try and learn from and avoid. So first of all, I'd like to point out how important it is to pay attention to health, safety and hygiene. With all these products I would look up and read and be interested in the health and safety aspects, because some of the special effects makeup things that you buy can be quite dangerous if you use them in the wrong way. And if you use them on the wrong way on another person, then you're going to be liable for it and just things can get bad. And I'd also be interested in looking up the health and safety things for products that you're using for your own health and safety. Because if you're working in the industry for a while or even a short while and you don't have the proper health and safety things, you can inhale the wrong things or spill the wrong things on your hands or your eyes, or have very serious long-term health problems if you don't take it seriously. So I very much recommend paying attention to the health and safety of things. So in particular, one of the things that are important are eyes. So around eyes you can't use anything that's particularly irritating or fumey, so you can't use isopropyl alcohol or things like reticulodion or anything really around the eye area. You want to keep that pretty bare. I mean, you can probably use like some of the cream makeups, but that would be about it. And I see a lot of people putting blood quite close to their eyes, and that's another thing you have to be careful about, because it is blood that is specifically designed to be used in the eyes by Krylon eye blood, and that's okay, but everything else you should probably keep it kind of far away from your eyes. And then in terms of hygiene as well, like just basic makeup hygiene you have to be aware of when you're working on different people. So that would be like washing and sanitizing your brushes between each person. If you're using water or water-based makeups, you have to make sure that you sanitize them between each person as well, and like no double dipping, kind of using each thing separate to people, and just keeping that mindful, because you can spread skin diseases or other kinds of diseases between people, and then again you're liable for that. So you have to be very careful. And if you're starting out you might not know this, so that's why I'm including it here. Yeah, the other thing to keep an awareness of is body hair. So if you're using especially latex and silicons like to rip out hair, so even just putting latex over my cheeks, when I pulled it off all the fine baby hairs and pretty much gave myself a slow wax, which doesn't feel that great. But especially like thicker hair like eyebrows or arm hairs, be careful with the latex and the silicone, because they will basically attach to every hair, and when you pull it off it's quite hard. I mean, there are things you can do, it's just a very slow and tedious process to try and get hairs out of those two products, so that's another thing to consider. And clothes, my favorite pair of jeans got drips of latex and silicone in them and it doesn't come out, so be mindful of your clothes as well. Yeah, so let's jump into the products. So the number one thing that I would find helpful to use, which is what I've started with as well, is nose and scalp wax, because this is a modeling putty. So basically you use it over an adhesive and then you can kind of build it up or break it down, and it's as easy as playing with Play-Doh basically. So this is a really handy thing to have. So I've looked up the prices of all of these, and most of these you can get from Friends Beauty, which is based in LA, and that's just one I order from a lot, so that was easy. But I've also ordered from Alcone Company, which is on the East Coast, FX Warehouse, which is also in America, and Amazon's good. In the UK, I've ordered from Mold Life and the Guru Makeup Emporium, and they're both good. And in Australia, I usually order from Scotty's Beauty Supply, which is in Sydney. Anyway, so on Friends Beauty, you can get 1 ounce of nose and scalp wax for $4.50. And then with nose and scalp wax, you need an adhesive to be able to glue it to the skin. And so Spirit Gum is fine for nose and scalp wax. It's a bit, I don't really like it, so I don't use it that much, but for a beginner it's fine. And so for Spirit Gum it's $3.50 for 1/4 ounce. Or another thing that I like using is prostate adhesive. And if you wanted to get that, that's looks like on Friends they only sell a 4 ounce bottle, which is about $14. I'm sure you can find it in smaller quantities on other makeup websites. And then of course if you're using the adhesive, you have to have a remover for the adhesive as well. And so I like the Telesis removers. This one's called Easy Off, and this one's about $5 for 4 ounces on Friends. So then if you're working with nose and scar wax, 2 things that make it really easy is to have Vaseline and have a wax spatula, and you lubricate the spatula with the Vaseline so you can smoothly kind of smooth out the edges of the nose and scar wax without it becoming too sticky. So that's like a couple of bucks from a grocery store, and then spatula's about $5 upwards depending on what kind of spatula you get. So then moving on from that, I find a really helpful thing to have is something to help match the skin tones, because the nose and scar wax, I think you're going to get 2 colours, and so it's likely not to suit your skin tone. So if you get just like a grease paint palette, this is Marin Mask Cover Makeup Palette, and you have 5 different skin tones to try and help mix into the nose and scar wax to help it match your skin better. And this is $17.95, and you get the 5 colours, and this has lasted me ages. Apparently it is $29 in Australia. The sticker's still on the back. And then another thing that's super useful is to have just like a basic bruise wheel. So this is a Maron bruise wheel, and this one goes for around 15 bucks. I couldn't find it on the Friends website, but I found it on Amazon. And that's really helpful for getting kind of like red, irritated or bruised skin around your nose and scar wax injuries, and also for bruises, obviously. Yeah, and then you need like a setting powder to go with the grease paints and the bruise wheel. It needs to be set with powder. So I like the Colour Set powder by Ben Nye, but I couldn't find it on my shelf. So for now I'm showing you the Maron setting powder. But for the Neutral Set powder by Ben Nye, it is about $7 for 1.75 ounces. Cool, and so once you've got that all done, if you wanted to add blood, I prefer the dark bloods over the light bloods, because the light bloods always look too light to me, but it's probably one of the things where it's like reality versus what I expect it to look like in my head. But either way, if you wanted the dark blood by Ben Nye, again, I couldn't find it on Friends Beauty, but you can find it on other websites, and it is around $3.50 for an ounce. And then I find blood gels really helpful as well if you want to get like thicker blood that kind of doesn't move and can stay in the edges of wounds. So this is Ben Nye's Fresh Scab, and Ben Nye's Fresh Scab, it's about $6.50 for an ounce, and I couldn't find that on Friends either. I think I found that on FX Warehouse. So then other things that are helpful, cotton balls are good for creating like a meaty texture when they're soaked with blood inside wounds, and I use like a million cotton tips and paper towels as well, so just basic things that are good to have. So for brushes, I destroy mine. So these are just like a really cheap art set that I got at an art store for like a couple of bucks, which work really well. I also like, these brushes are all nail art brushes. So if you go on eBay, you can get nail art brushes, like a whole set for like $2, including shipping from China. And they're basically made out of cardboard, but they're fine. They work, you know, for a limited amount of time. And they've got really tiny brushes so you can get like detail work right in there. So those I like as well. I use like the basic triangle sponges a lot to apply bases, or you can rip them up to get kind of stippled effects as well. And then I find these stipple sponges super helpful to have as well, to create textures like broken capillaries or like blood effects as well. And these are about, I think, $1.50 per sponge on Friends Beauty. So they're the main things that I would have to practice, you know, lacerations and bruising and bullet holes and all of that. If you wanted to get into burn makeup, you can get something kind of gelatiny, Maron 3D gel, Gelatin Effects. So this is a little thing which you can heat up just in hot water, and then you spread it over so it looks like your skin is kind of melted and burned. And this is about $7.50 for 2 ounces. Another thing you could include, these are just kind of add-on extras. Rigid collodions are really cool for creating indented skin for both wounds and scars, but usually scars. And this one is about $5.50 for 1 ounce. No, that's liquid latex. Rigid collodion, okay. 55 0.55. What is this? This is 85 fluid ounces and it's $8.90. I've tried Maron and Krylon, and the Maron one seems to smell a lot worse, so I like the Krylon one better. And then another thing you can include is latex, and when I was a beginner I used latex everything all the time, but now I'm realizing that there's just a lot of problems with latex. So number one is that people can be allergic to it. I mean, and you should patch test everything that you put on people's skin, but especially latex, because people can have such severe reactions to latex. So you want to patch test it. And even just like baby fine hair latex, you put it on, it will rip it out. It smells really bad, like it'll make your eyes water. It's like just really pungent. And when you like build stuff up with latex and layers of tissues or paper towel underneath, it just dries like really rigid, and I feel like that makes it not look like skin also, because you can see the use of the paper towel and the tissue underneath, and then its rigidity doesn't move like real skin or anything, and so that yeah, it's just uncomfortable wear and doesn't look as good. And I mean, there are problems with the nose and scalp wax as well, like that. It's very fragile, so it will be destroyed if you like accidentally rub it or like squish it, you know, or if it's too hot it can melt it because it's wax, you know. So, you know, the nose and scalp wax is probably better if you want to just practice at home and take photos rather than wear it out for a whole night. If you wanted something that would last a bit longer, then the latex build-ups are fine. It's just that there's so many more comfortable things you can wear now. Like, I probably much prefer just using silicone for everything, and maybe gelatin as well over latex. But what it is really good for is you can create like thin layers of skins if you wanted like knuckles after a fight that have the skin rubbed off them. The latex can do that, or like a peely sunburn, or even like thicker layers of latex peeled back as skin. Like, it works really well for those things without anything in between it. Yeah, so it can definitely be handy to have, but I wouldn't use it as much as I used to use it, because it's a pain in the butt as well. What else? I think that's about everything for now. Yeah, if you have any questions, talk to me. I like talking about makeup. I've been really into Instagram lately. I got that recently, and I just keep posting anything makeup related that I get excited about goes on Instagram. And if I want to have discussions about videos or whatever it is talking about makeup, I usually have all the word and text stuff on my Facebook page, and then all the photos on the Instagram page. So if you guys want to keep in touch or follow me, I'll link those below. Otherwise, hopefully I'll see you guys soon. I should be getting the rest of the videos up over the next week.